with a bit of news for you. Breaking news. In the year ending 31st of March 2024, police forces in England and Wales recorded 747,396 uses of force, an increase of 10%. The increase is likely due to continued improvements in the recording of uses of force, they say, Harry. I don't know what to make of that, really. I mean, is that good or bad?
Well, think about it, Mike. It's a 10% increase this year, and that's ahead of an 8% increase the year before. And no doubt there'll be lots of liberal lefties who see this as yet further evidence of a violent police force. I don't see it that way.
No.
We have in this country a increasing problem with crime, an increasing problem with violent crime, and I think it's entirely appropriate that when faced with such a situation, police officers use force. Now, by force, what they mean is anything from the use of split hood restraints to handcuffs to escorting a person by the arm to a police car. It doesn't necessarily mean going in hard with a baton and a taser. It can occasionally mean that, but as a rule, it doesn't. And I think providing our police use force which is proportionate to the situation in which they face, then it's entirely reasonable. And if you have a situation where crime is on the rise, and where violent crime is on the rise, it would seem odd if the police did not respond accordingly. So regardless of what the leftists make of this, in many respects, I'm rather encouraged by these things.
Yes, I think so. I mean, I suppose the trouble, of course, with all of this is the old two-tier nature of the policing, isn't it? Because it's all right for them to use force, and I would be very happy for them to use force when they need to use it, but there are times when they seem to use it against one group of people and not against another group of people.
No, that's entirely right. And the police in that regard are doing themselves no favour whatsoever. You know, the police are the armed wing of the state. They are the only group of the soldiers who are licensed to carry weapons, who are licensed to use force as a matter of routine.
Yeah.
And if you have that privilege, I mean, it's not a privilege, but if you have that privilege, it is absolutely important, it is vitally necessary that you show yourself to be entirely impartial, that you operate without fear or favour.
Yeah.
And so when you have Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper in effect co-opting the police to their political ends, and you find Yvette Cooper encouraging police officers to interfere in things which she herself admits are not crimes, then you have a real problem with the perception of the police by the public. And the two things sit very uneasily together. You cannot have a police force that is using an increasing use of force and at the same time have a police force which is becoming increasingly political. So I have no problem at all with the increased use of force, but we need to have a police force which is entirely divorced from the government, entirely divorced from politics, and entirely divorced from political pressure groups. That's the problem we have at the moment, Mike.
Yeah, and we're learning today that Keir Starmer is going to reset his government. It's not called a reset. He mustn't call it that because that's not what it is. You might get a visit from the police if you do. But basically, he's going to get a load more community police officers. Now, I've been getting messages from people who were community police officers and other former police officers saying community policing is a waste of time, doesn't mean anything, nobody really does anything, and the people that you hire to do stuff don't really do anything either.
No, absolutely not. PCSOs particularly are very good for sort of supporting traffic wardens in dealing with, you know, low-level traffic crime, low-level incidents. But if you want to tackle actual crime, then what you need is actual police officers who have been properly trained, who are properly warranted, who know what they're doing, who've had a proper course in what is lawful and what is not lawful. The problem we have with PCSOs, albeit well-meaning, as we saw last year, PCSO decided that it was unlawful for Christians to be singing outside of a church, hymns outside of a church. Well, that's absolutely no good whatsoever. You need to get back in your lane. That's not your job. If Keir Starmer is serious about resetting his government and resetting the police force in order to tackle what the public are concerned with, i.e. actual crime, then what he needs is a professional police force. He needs police officers who are properly trained, who understand the law, who understand where the line in the sand is between law breaking and not law breaking, and who understand when it is and when it is not appropriate to use force. That's what we need. You can't skimp and save when it comes to policing. It's as simple as that.
No, exactly right. And so the idea that somehow, you know, these new police recruits that they're going to bring in, which apparently is only about 4,000 rather than the 13,000 he's claiming, because the others are going to be sort of moved around, that they're going to suddenly make safe loads and loads of neighbourhoods in this country which have become unsafe, I think is a hiding to nothing. So, I mean, this whole reset that he's going to be doing, particularly when it comes to crime and justice, we found out yesterday that Shabana Mahmood, the Justice Secretary, wants to make a prison environment outside of a prison and wants to let more people out of prison and put more, you know, sort of electronic bracelets on them and let them walk around and give them their dignity back, and somehow that's going to make us all safer. Doesn't sound like it to me.
No, absolutely not. I mean, what's Keir Starmer doing here with shuffling the numbers? It's a police blue wash. It's the boys in blue wash. It's as simple as that. If he's being serious about it, you cannot simply shuffle the numbers. We're not the Wild West. You can't simply stick a badge on somebody and say, there you go, off you go, you're now my deputy boy.
Yeah.
You can't do that in a civilized society. We have the money to do it. You know, we need to. There are 1,000 ways in which he could properly fund a police force, but he needs to get his priorities right. And this government needs to understand that law and order is a very basic principle. It's a very basic freedom that the British people want enforcing. We cannot do this by skimping on PCSOs and specials. We need proper, qualified, full-time police officers. And I'm glad to say that since Faircop and Harry Miller gave the College of Policing a bit of hard love, the College of Policing have done rather well down in Avon and Somerset, for instance.
Right.
They've been training police officers in how to handle situations, and they've seen a decrease in the use of force by yeah, and that's the kind of thing that we need. We need the College of Policing to be doing more of this. We need the police forces to be doing more of this, but you need to be doing it with professional police officers.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Good to talk to you, Harry. It's been too long. Thank you very much indeed. Harry Miller there, founder of Fair Cop. Let's get a voice note from Carl on policing.
Morning, Mike. Carl from Ironbridge. This neighbourhood policing thing is a complete load of tosh from Labour. We had a neighbourhood policing team here in Ironbridge trying to deal with the situation at the park. It was a complete waste of time. Every time we reported it to the so-called named police officer, they used to turn up and do absolutely nothing. In the end, the residents decided to take action ourselves, and we installed CCTV at our own cost.
And that may well have done the trick. I don't know whether CCTV works, though, as well, because, I mean, there's loads of CCTV all over the place, and it never seems to work somehow, does it? Julia's here. Very good morning to you.
Yeah, well, I think, other than Singapore and China, I think we are the most CCTV covered, and our crime rate... Well, we keep being told, don't we, that crime's going down.
Well, because it's in surveys. It's going down in surveys.
I just think a lot of people just aren't reporting crime.
No, they're not.
It's just...